Kerala, which is once again battling with the fury of nature and this massive landslide that has now struck Wayanad once again, claiming lives of at least 4 people, trapping the workers beneath tons of mud and debris and triggering large-scale rescue operations. Now, what is being said that the death toll, unfortunately, has now climbed to 5, while the search operations still continue to find those missing. Now, a red alert, however, remains in force as a relentless rain lashes the region. The tragedy has once again reignited the haunting memories of the devastating 2024 Wayanad landslide, with fresh questions now being raised over whether this was solely a natural disaster or catastrophe that was worsened by human intervention. Now, in this breaking update, what we are learning in an official letter coming in from the Wayanad district collector seems to have raised fresh questions over the tunnel project. Now, the communication which is directed that the tunnel work be halted temporarily and has called for an immediate removal of what it described as unscientifically stacked excavated soil. Now, the letter that flagged as a piling of excavated soil is a potential landslide hazard and warned of a threat to human life and property, adding that a new dimension of the questions surrounding the disaster if could have been prevented, because that seems to be raising the questions there. At least now what we're getting to know, unfortunately, with the death toll now going up to at least 5. Let's connect with Imran on this. Imran, man-made disaster or natural calamity? The questions are now being raised. Exactly what was the warning that had come in from the DC side?
Frame.
Imran, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a question about it, whereas now the district collector of Wayanad had already written on 20th June the letter to saying that, you know, this was the unexcavated, the excavated unscientific soil has been laying around the bridge, and that needs to be cleared. And you can see from the visuals here the impact of it, where you can show that where because of this soil and the first heavy rains and the landslide happened, and this DC had clearly forewarned the private company that this could lead to loss of lives and also could have huge impact if the soil is not cleared. The unscientifically excavated soil is not cleared. Now, this is the district administration is saying, and in fact, even that's the what is called as a saving grace for the government to over this dereliction which has happened, and where 3 lives have been lost. Now, the question is that if the private company didn't follow through the directions of the district collector, why wasn't the district administration insistent and it should have cleared? The implementing authority was the district administration. Now, the private company is washing their hands off, saying that this happened because of excessive rainfall. They claim that they have followed all the procedures and the scientific methodologies which was there responsible for what implementation of project like this. And because of the heavy rainfall, unprecedented 265 mm of rainfall what the district received, and because of which they claim that the disaster happened. However, that letter and the government claims that it's a purely responsibility of the private company DBL. They should have cleared the unscientifically excavated soil there, and they should have cleared it. Otherwise, these lives could have been saved. Now, we are from the spot. We're getting the locations where rescue operations are still underway. Entire night, the rescue operations went on. As of right now, the district administration said that 5 people have died in the landslide which happened in Mepadi, where we are right now. 9 people injured have been admitted to the hospital, and 3 more are still, I beg your pardon, 5 more are still trapped in the debris there, for which the work is happening. There are 2 big tasks with the administration right now. One is to clear the bridge so that vehicular movement can happen, and second, to the people who are buried under the debris, to rescue those to the people there who are buried under there. Now, the big question is, was the Chief Minister visiting there at 1 p.m. today? So what will the action the Kerala government will take against the private company? And if the DC had written on 20th June to clear the unscientifically excavated soil there, why didn't the district administration follow through?
Right, but looking at the weather conditions, what can you tell us, Imran, that what could be the bigger challenges there, especially for the relief and the rescue teams as well? Because all of them that have been pressed into service are also looking at a lot of challenges and difficulties as well to carry out the relief work.
Well, if I show you the topography of this area, you can see there is a hills there, river. So there's a lot of challenges as of right now for the rescue of NDRF team who are pressed here. In fact, two teams were rushed immediately. Yesterday there was a special meeting, and if we can show you the JCBs working there to remove the soil there so that they can reach out to the people who are buried under this landslide there. As you can see, there's a hilly and very, very densely, thickly with trees. So this is a very, very challenging as far as any rescue operation is concerned. The bridge, as you can see there, they're trying to clear that bridge there so that the vehicle movement can happen. But more importantly, the people who are buried under the debris, as soon as possible they need to reach them out and remove the bodies from it. That's a big challenge for there. And one can have a look at the topography, can understand what kind of physical challenges will be there because of the landscape there. And these are the if I ask, I can remember to pan and show you the rescue efforts are going on still since last night. The entire day the rescue happened, and the entire night it continued. Now as we speak also, the rescue efforts are underway.
All right. Well, the rescue efforts that you can see, and it still seems to be raining, and the peak of monsoons that we are now looking at, and of course, lot will go in while probing the official letter from the Wayanad district collector that seems to have raised questions over the tunnel project, where the communication seems to have directed that the tunnel work are to be halted temporarily, and that also called for an immediate removal of what it described as unscientifically stacked excavated oil. So was it that the loose soil that we are now looking at the non-compliance with the earlier directions to remove the accumulated soil, and called this landslide to be a man-made disaster, as the tunnel project contractor says that it was triggered owing to extremely heavy rainfall? Well, that seems to be a part of the investigation. As Imran continues to be with us, we also talk about how and why does Wayanad in this particular area remain so vulnerable to landslides, because experts have been pointing out to a combination of both natural and human-made factors, and the district's steep western Ghats terrain that is coupled with intense monsoon rainfall and weathered laterite soil as well, that makes the slopes inherently fragile. So that seems to be, why the reason and why this area is very prone to landslides. Of course, it's raining. It's the peak of the monsoons. Then there is weathered laterite and loose soil, deforestation and vegetation loss as well. There has been quarrying and the cutting of hills that has been carried out. Settlements, of course, when it comes to the human presence, they're on vulnerable slopes. And that seems to be the factors that seems to be adding up. And you can see those pictures, they're terrifying, what has been caught on camera when the landslide struck. You can see this giant tanker just moving like that. And there were about several people who were about to come, beneath it or underneath it. But still, as according to reports, what is being said, around 4 to 5 people, mainly workers there of the tunnel project, are still believed to be trapped. Now, the spotlight seems to have turned on the tunnel project at the site of the landslide. Serious questions that are being raised, whether the excavated soil was left exposed or whether the slopes were adequately reinforced. So there are also allegations and warning signs had emerged well before the collapse but were ignored. However, the contractor there has now come out to firmly deny any wrongdoings. In an official statement, the company has said that the project was executed in strict compliance with all engineering safety norms, environmental clearances, and also statutory regulations. Now, this company, DBL, has now attributed the incident to exceptional heavy rainfall in Wayanad, saying that they are also fully cooperating with the ongoing investigation. Now, as it is being said, around 1 p.m., the rescue operations that continue. The Kerala Chief Minister will be visiting the disaster-hit site. Already on part of the Congress-run government there, questions are being raised over this disaster, which they are now labeling it to be a man-made disaster. And the Chief Minister, however, is expected to leave from Thiruvananthapuram to reach a Meenakshi Bridge and the landslide site, which during this visit, the Chief Minister then is expected to review the ongoing relief and rescue operations and assess the ground situation, and receive a briefing of the officials as well, who seems to be coordinating in response to the tragedy. So we have seen the kind of response, Imran, that has come in from the Chief Minister's office side, a control room emergency meeting, and he has been closely monitoring the situation ever since the tragedy struck.
Well, absolutely. Then immediately when the tragedy struck, the Chief Minister organized a special meeting over this particular issue, and in fact, the District Minister was also Siddiq was also rushed to for Trivandrum to have a meeting on that, and as Chief Minister also will be visiting the site today, and we can show you that the rescue efforts are still underway there. The NDRF teams worked entire day and whole night to reach out to the people who are still buried in the debris. 9 people have been injured in the incident. They were rushed to the hospital, and 5 were declared dead by the government. Now, yesterday, because of the heavy rainfalls, no work was happening. Otherwise, the casualties could have been much more. Because of heavy rainfall, all the workers were just here on the site, but no work was happening. But because of these landslide, these casualties were reported. They were what we're getting to know is that the company, according to company officials, think that there are close to around 5 more workers there. But how many locals are there? That still has to be countable. As of right now, 5 is the district administration is saying that more than 5 to 6 people are still buried in the debris. 5 had been declared dead, and 9 have been injured in this incident. The question is whether it was natural, it was man-made. Our district collector's letter shows that the company in charge of the implementation were forewarned about it.
Investigation. Because that seems to be the only case that we are now looking at, because questions that are now being raised over, was it a man-made or a natural calamity? But let's also talk about how the Congress leaders have been reacting to this tragedy. As we are expecting the Chief Minister's visit to the landslide site at around 1 p.m. Rahul Gandhi has also expressed grief over the tragedy, describing the news of the landslide to be as deeply distressing. And he's offered his heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families and every effort that he says must be built to rescue those who are still trapped. Rahul Gandhi, meanwhile, has urged the UDF workers to extend all possible assistance to those affected, expressing confidence that Wayanad will overcome this tragedy and will emerge stronger. Now, speaking of heavy rainfall and peak monsoons, let's get you the updates coming in from the other parts of the country as well. Let's also talk about the flooding and the damage that has now been reported across Nasik in Maharashtra and nearby areas, including Trimbakeshwar, Panchvati and Ghoti, and overflowing rivers and streams and mountain-fed waterfalls that seems to be swelling because of the incessant rain, leading to waterlogging in several city roads as well. In rural parts of the district, strong river currents washed away bridges, disrupting connectivity, while one bridge also collapsed amid heavy rain and surging water flow. Now, the authorities are monitoring the situation as the rescue and the relief efforts continue in the affected areas. Let's connect with Arunil on this. Arunil, different cities, same story. Again, we are looking at the pictures that are now coming in from Nasik. We are looking at the pictures coming in from different parts of the state of Maharashtra.
Well, certainly, yes, Samita, good morning to you. Across the state of Maharashtra, again, heavy rainfall has been received today as well. Alerts have been issued by the authorities for different districts. But the spotlight which was there on Nasik yesterday was because a cloud burst was predicted. That threat which loomed over Nasik has passed now. That's what we understand. But despite that, extremely heavy rainfall has been received in Nasik. At present, I'm reporting from Nasik. Only rivers are overflowing. You also mentioned about a very crucial bridge that was there in the holy town of Trimbakeshwar, which connected it to Palghar, collapsed yesterday. That led to a major inconvenience, but thankfully there were no loss of lives in that incident. Coming to the other districts as well, the Palghar district is one of the worst hit districts because of this continuous heavy rainfall. The operation of trains again trains are not operational beyond Mira Road as smoothly. There is waterlogging on the tracks beyond Mira Road until Palghar. Now coming to other districts in Maharashtra, the Konkan belt, which is basically Ratnagiri, Raigad, Sindhudurga as well, massive landslides are being reported near the Western Ghats as well. Until now, 20 lives have been lost since the onset of monsoon, which was delayed this year. Basically, in the last 10 days, 20 lives have been lost across Maharashtra, 16 from the MMR region, only Mumbai metropolitan region. And it mounts pressure on the Devendra Fadnavis government as well as the different civic bodies in Maharashtra, particularly the BMC, which is Asia's richest civic body. Now,
yes.
NDRF teams have also been put on high alert because of this extremely heavy rainfall that has been received. But the main thing, that was the cloudburst threat that was looming over Nashik, about which CM Devendra Fadnavis also spoke of. That has been passed.
Infrastructure and of course the work that has been done on ground, of course the questions that are being raised over the loss of lives and where does the accountability lie. But the threat now seems to be far from over, as far as when we speak of Maharashtra in particular, coastal areas where the IMD continues to issue alerts right from orange and also being upgraded to red in several areas. Thank you very much for the moment, Arunil, for joining us with that live update. Now,